Rob Grimes with the IFBTA, and today it's my pleasure to introduce one of our newest industry supporters, Jolt. But actually, it's sort of a weird thing to introduce a new person when you're actually talking to well, I don't want to say old person, but when you're actually talking to somebody that you've known a long time. So I want to introduce the Chief Revenue Officer of Jolt, Bob Gibson. So Bob, welcome to the IFBTA and welcome to Jolt as well.
Thanks, Rob. Really appreciate it. And as always, love the IFBTA. You guys do some really great work and very excited to be a part of it.
So I'm going to guess that a lot of people may or may not know who Jolt is. And so I think we should really start there with, who is Jolt, what is Jolt, and how does it help the hospitality industry?
Sure. So Jolt is a digital food safety task management system. We provide some value to some pretty major customers in the marketplace: McDonald's, Culver's, Chick-fil-A are some of our big customers. And basically what we do is we really help them manage their brand standards and apply digital food safety across their estate. We also do time and attendance and scheduling. And we also are very heavily with sensors. So from a industry standpoint, we really provide a lot of value and ROI on the product that we offer.
All right. So in that 1 minute, you actually opened up a whole bunch of questions for me. So first of all, let me just start with something. I get the sensors and I get the food safety part, but I'm not so sure I tied together the time and attendance in there and the labor scheduling. So is that just because there were different products and you just happen to sell different products, or is there actually a tie between the two?
Yeah, there is a tie. So our founder was actually a Baskin-Robbins franchisee. And back in the day, 8 years ago, he didn't have any of that. So he didn't have a time and attendance module. He didn't have any kind of task management or sensor kind of products. Everything was kind of done on paper. And interestingly enough, the reason why he started the product was New Year's Eve, his refrigeration went out, and he didn't know it. So he lost about $12,000 worth of product. Exactly.
Of course, what was he doing selling ice cream on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, he wasn't. He was closed, so he lost all that product. And what he did was he said, okay, there's got to be a way to solve this. And he came up with the project, which was, time and attendance, scheduling, and then they built in the task management and the sensors to try to mitigate that risk down the road.
All right, so there's always a story, and it's great to start as an operator and then find a need and go with it, rather than starting as a tech company and then trying to figure out how you have the need for the operators, right?
Exactly.
So, timing's sort of an interesting thing. So how long have you been at Jolt?
I just joined Jolt the last week in January.
All right, so I got a question. Did you predict the pandemic was going to happen and you decided to make the leap to Jolt? Because it just seems that if you're in the food safety area, and then this pandemic hits, the whole focus of the industry is now going to food safety, and your timing was just amazing in making that switch.
Yeah, it really was just happenstance, to be honest with you. I never thought I'd leave Oracle or Micros. I spent 20 years in the point of sale business and property management system with hotels. And really, it was a passion of mine. But this opportunity came up, and as I researched more and more, I think we're going to see a shift in spend. Right now, digital food safety or task management is about 2% of overall spend. But what we're definitely seeing is the large enterprise companies are starting to move to it. So it kind of reminds me, believe it or not, Rob, in the late 80s, early 90s, when we went from cash registers to POS.
I can't remember that.
Yeah, I know.
At least you didn't say the word ECR to POS, right? You could have done that.
Electronic cash register?
Oh, yes, that.
I'd say that, yeah.
Right, but it's sort of the same kind of leap. But actually, if you think about it, okay, so the pandemic has gotten people more thinking about food safety, but you didn't know really about that when you took the jump. However, if you really think about how people want to know sustainable, where their foods are coming from, local farmers, the whole supply chain piece in there, and then you mentioned McDonald's already, you then take a look at companies like McDonald's going to fresh meat, that really changes the way that the market does business. and especially the big enterprise and chain customers.
Yeah, it really does. And when I took the position, I was kind of thinking out 5 years, right? 2025 was kind of in the back of my mind and what the industry would look like. And I think one of the unintended consequences of the pandemic is that some of that technology that we were forecasting from 2025 is actually here today. You know, between contactless, scannable menus, digital food safety, all those kind of things that we thought were a little out in the future. I think we're discovering that timetable moved up dramatically.
Well, so Jolt has a very focused area of applications that they're doing. So I'm going to guess that your years of experience, and also actually when you dealt with the dealer channels, that those years of experience are really helping you now, because you're selling a product that most of the other types of application and systems providers for the food service hospitality industry don't have.
Exactly. And although there's some great tie-in, so we've got a really strong API. So as folks are trying to integrate these systems into theirs, we can do that pretty seamlessly.
So how many years has Jolt actually been in business then?
Jolt's just finished their 8th year in business.
8th year. So out of the ice cream business and 8 years. By the way, does he still have the Baskin & Robbins franchise?
He does not. He did sell it. Once this kind of took off, he put all his efforts into this product.
You know, I know last fall the IFBTA was over in London, and we ran into some of your team actually over there, I think before you signed up or right as you were joining. You just mentioned international. So how many countries, what was the genesis of that?
We're in about 28 countries right now. And events like that, which was one of the first ones we've done internationally, that and the Singapore were the only 2 we've done so far. And
well, there haven't been many since then.
Right, that's a good point. But that's really spawned a lot of interest. And what we find is that once we've got someone within a country that's using it, they tend to become a raving fan. And then the word of mouth really is what increases sales there. Personally, next year, that's a big goal of mine, is to build out the international market.
Right. Well, also some of your customers will take you there because you're working with some large brands that are international, and they need to have a global standard, right?
Exactly.
Which is part of what they do. So you just said that 28 countries. McDonald's is in about 110 or 117. So there is a big world out there. Is there any part of the world that you see a region more than the other that's going to be the bigger target market for this?
So originally it was going to be JPAC or Asia Pacific was going to be the real kind of push. But what we've seen in the European Union and the UK is they've come out with some pretty stringent laws or regulations.
The standard, right.
Standards that this product really fits a niche. And the UK has kind of exploded for us over the last couple of months. So we're starting to do a lot of product there, and then we think the EU as well. The world's our oyster, right? At this point, it's just we need to focus on the right areas to get in.
Right. Well, listen, we are really pleased to have Jolt as a industry supporter of the IFBTA, and also to make us a place of choice, as you made that jump yourself in there. And it's been a lot of fun to do the webinars and things with you guys and sort of hear what you're doing. You are hitting a unique part of the market, and the IFBTA and our membership obviously has a lot to learn from you. And we really appreciate the support.
Thanks, Rob. Really appreciate it, and really appreciate all the IFBTA does. I mean, I've known for years it's a really valuable asset that folks need to take a part of. And I'm proud that we've been with you. I've been with you for quite a long time. So thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. So Bob Gibson from Jolt, and I'm Rob Grimes with the IFBTA, and this is part of our Meet the Members series.